Uni is back, and with it comes hijinks. Quick backstory. George P. Burdell is this fictional student who was enrolled in Georgia Tech in 1927, who then earned a degree because the guy who made him up just redid all his assignments. And since then, this prank has become so famous that they even tell you about it on orientation at Georgia Tech. Apparently, he has gone to earn pretty much every single undergraduate degree possible at Georgia Tech. That's just how prolific this fictional person is. So with this little knowledge in mind, I decided, well, I can't really enroll in any classes under this fictional name, but I can teach them. I would find classes, I would walk into them just before they started, write George Burdell on the board and say, "Hello everyone, I'm your tutor." My first mark was Intro to History, which, by the way, I know nothing about history. A friend of mine was doing it, he wasn't taking that particular class, but he knew that it was on. I'm like that 15 minutes early. Walk in, there's like a couple of students that are early, just sitting down. I introduce myself, I say, "Did anyone go to the lectures?" And one person didn't, and I start talking to them about LMS, which is where you can find the lectures recorded online, etc. Real simple first year stuff. Everything I told them was important things that they should know as university students. I just didn't teach them anything to do with history. The thing is, one of the students was older than I was. They don't know who you are. They don't know anyone. So they just see a person sort of confidently stride in and say, "I'm your tutor." Then, well, that's a figure of authority, I believe that. I told them I was 25 and had a master's in specializing in Victorian history. The lie goes down great if you say, "Well, this is my first time teaching, so this is going to be interesting." They're like, "Oh, well, yeah, okay, I can see that, because you're young." So they all believe me. There's a couple of latecomers. I'm like, "Can you sign this attendance, etc.?" It wasn't even like a printout. I just got like a piece of paper and said, "Put your name on that." And they're just like, "Okay." Anyway, I have no idea what the lecture is about, so to stall time, because class hasn't officially started yet until like 2:30, I got into a discussion with students about Shakespeare, and I just threw out the 3 or 4 things I know about it, having barely read any Shakespeare plays at all. I had them going for 15 minutes. I'm just sitting there waiting, stalling for time for when, like, the real tutor arrives with the rest of the class. The thing is, they've already arrived. They're standing outside waiting because they see people inside the class and are talking, and they figure, "Oh, that's the class before." And they're just waiting for me to be done. The thing is, I'm never going to be done until you interrupt me. So eventually, the real tutor pokes her head in and goes, "Is this history?" I say, "Yes. Hi, I'm George." She goes, "Oh, that's interesting. Why are you sitting at the front then? Are you another tutor?" So my first response is, well, at this point I must reveal I am a fraud. And I grab all my stuff and walk out the door with no explanation, just trying to avoid eye contact with anyone. And as I walk out, I see someone, like a student from one of the other classes that I'm in. I'm just like, "Hello. Goodbye." I hear my laughter echoing down the hallway as I can't contain it because this is too much fun. So I did it again. So I found Intro to Screen, which is, by the way, a unit that I've done, so I could technically, lie about that for longer than history. There's a class beforehand, so I can't interrupt them, so I was just standing out in the corridor with them, talking to them about Quentin Tarantino, saying like, "Yeah, I'm your tutor. Yeah, I totally am. What did you think of the lecture?" "Well, yeah. When suddenly the real tutor comes round the corner and says, "We're in here today, we're in here next week." And so all the students look at him, look at me, leave. So then what's my next step? Why admit this to the unit coordinator of Intro to Screen, and what does he do? Punish me? Tell me off? No, he laughs. He finds it hilarious, tells me when the next class that he's teaching is on, and gives me a copy of the movie that they watched in the lecture so I could, know what I was talking about. I'm prepared. I've taken this unit. I can do this. So I arrive. I'm waiting for the other class to finish so I can walk in. The problem is, when I get there, I've discovered that someone in that class isn't actually a first year. Everyone else is like, this is their first year, this is their, they've never done anything before. But this guy, he's just like, "Oh, I think I'll do screen now." So the problem with this is, I had a class with him last semester. He knows me. He's got me on Facebook. Surely the prank is over at that point, right? No. He goes, "What are you doing here?" "I'm teaching." "Oh, really?" "Yes." he was so gullible. So I'm teaching this class and I'm about to start talking about Anna's Playground, which is a brilliant short film about war and children. When Martin walks in with this mock confused look, he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I go, "What happened to being 10 minutes late?" And I explain it to the class and we all have a big laugh. And then one student goes, "I thought you weren't the tutor." "Oh, what? What? It was just like, you look too young. And when you went into class, you didn't take your bag off." I'm like, wow, that is some amazing deductive skills you've got there. So the screen students actually were a little bit suspicious. Then I start yelling at like the guy that I know. I'm like, "What? You know my name is not George. You have me on Facebook. Why did you not think that this was suspicious?" It's just like, ugh. Next semester, I'll have a whole new week to do this all over again. So if you ever see me walk into your class, stand at the front and tell you that I'm George and I'll be teaching this class, shh, just play along with it. Goodbye, YouTube.